Welcome to Restorative Yoga at Home. My name is Maitreya. Today I'm going to show you a simple restorative yoga sequence with the following props. So go ahead and pause the video now and gather what you need. When you're ready, take enough support so you can sit with your knees below the hips and so that you're able to maintain the lift of the chest with comfort and ease. Bring your palms together at the center of the chest and begin to turn your attention inward. Notice your breath and notice the weight of your body. Breathe into the side ribs. Feel the expansive quality of the breath and the complete surrender with each exhalation. Inhale, and on the exhalation, bow your head to your heart. Release your palms to your thighs. Inhale, lift your head, and open your eyes. Welcome. We're going to start with a simple bolster backbend. And I want to show it first with the one prop. Before I get into the pose, it's very important that I get my eye cover ready. I just want to fold my hand towel so I'll be able to easily cover my eyes and block out light. In all of these poses, we want to cover our eyes as light is incredibly stimulating to the nervous system. So I just sit in front of the bolster, place my elbows to stabilize, and then let the spine drape over the round shape of my pillow. And you can see I have a nice even arc at the spine. For many of you, this will be too much of a stretch. And in this practice, we want to move away from stretching and more into releasing and finding a comfortable position where we can stay for a longer period of time. So if you get into this pose and you feel a lot of discomfort in the lower back, the tailbone, you can add a blanket or several blankets under the tailbone or under the shoulders and head as I've done. I just rock from side to side to get the sacrum centered, feeling good, and then I'll cover my eyes. You can add as many as 4 or 5 blankets. So really find what works best for you today. Once the spine is comfortable and settled, find a comfortable position for the arms. I like to rest my arms overhead, but if that's not comfortable for you in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, you can take your arms at a T. This is a very lovely, neutral position for the arm. And when I do take my arms at a T like this, I like to rest on the pinky side of the palm. But today I've decided to take my arms overhead. I'll then turn my toes in so the heels turn out and rest the inner knees together. The floating ribs are the apex of the pose here. So feel the floating ribs spreading as you breathe into the rib cage and the area of the armpit. You can slightly tuck the chin and soften the throat. Release the facial muscles. Observe the skin of the forehead softening. Once you've found the comfortable setup, all you have to do is let the pose and the props work for you. Your job right now is to simply receive. Receive the stability of the blanket supporting the tailbone. Breathe into the openness that has come to the chest in this position. Become aware of spaciousness with each inhalation, and with each exhalation, drop down and become more intimate with the pose. Slowly inhale the breath. Begin to prepare yourself to transition out of the pose. One at a time, bend your elbows and rest your hands on your torso, and then remove the cover from your eyes. After the next breath, roll to your side and press yourself up on an inhalation. Our next pose will be a side stretch over the bolster. I'm going to remove the blanket that was supporting my tailbone and place it to the side. I'm sure we will find a use for it later. I'm keeping the other blanket there for some additional padding, and then I want to make sure that I have my eye cover nearby. Depending on the length of your torso, you'll have to sit with the hip against the bolster or slightly away if you have a longer torso. I want to extend my waist and then reach my top arm overhead to open the top ribs and the top waist. It's nice to start with the left side of the waist on the bolster, so we begin by opening the right side of the body. You can keep a simple bend in the knees here, and either reach the arms overhead or bend the elbows. I like the feeling of the arms outstretched with the palm on the floor, the palm feels very grounding and stabilizing, as does the hip, which is sitting on the floor. So now we can focus on opening the right waist, ribs, and breathing into the right lung. Tuck the chin and remember to cover your eyes. Inhale and begin to invite movement into the body. You can take the right arm and place it on the floor in front of you to stabilize. Remove the cover from your eyes and then use your arms to press yourself up. Take a minute before you transition to the second side. It's nice to sit with a neutral spine and observe the after effects of the pose. And then you'll turn, sit now with the right hip against the bolster. Extend your arm out in front of you. Inhale the left arm up and reach the left arm out and over the head. I want to cover my eyes again here. And then let the left side of the waist open. Breathe into the left lung. Notice how the body wants to drape over the bolster. Notice the sheer pleasure of resting and doing nothing. Inhale your breath. Place the left palm on the floor in front of you. Roll so the navel faces the floor, and press yourself up on an inhalation. And then take a moment to observe the after effects of the pose. For our next pose, we're going to be opening the back body. And I want to start by making a roll for the feet. I'll start by making a smaller roll by folding a third of my rectangular blanket in and then rolling. I'll take a second blanket so I can make a doubly thick roll. I've chosen to roll my blankets this way because I will reuse the thinner roll in the next pose. Place your thick roll at the foot of your mat and then grab your bolster. The bolster this time is going to support the whole front torso. I'll use the blocks to support the forehead and hands. The blocks can be adjusted, so you'll need to find the appropriate height for you. But that's what I love about all of these poses. You can customize them to meet your needs. I'll have another blanket nearby to add some more padding over the block, and then I'm never too far away from my eye cover. Finally, I have a fourth blanket that is heavy. I'm going to show you how to place that on the back body for some extra comfort. First, I want to place the top of my foot on my thick roll, and then I'll rest over the bolster to find a comfortable position. I like to pull the bolster up to my chin and then rest that lower block at the forehead level. If you have larger breasts, though, you can place the bolster below the breast so the tissue is free and there isn't any choking or sensations of discomfort. So I'm taking my heavy blanket there and I'm placing it on the kidney and sacrum areas. So I'm placing this over the hips and then up to the kidney area, and that gives a really lovely sense of grounding, warmth, and stability. I found the weight to be incredibly comforting, especially if you have a hard time relaxing. I encourage the comfort of the blanket. So I've got my ankles supported. The whole front of the torso is resting on the blanket. I have the weight to ground and settle at the back body. I've rested my forehead on the block with the blanket covering, and I want the block to only support the forehead so the nose is free and there should be no pressure on the eyes here. Then you can see I've rested the hands, so the hands are higher than the elbows and comfortably draping over the edge of the block. Also, I'm making use of the padding from the blanket here. And then finally, cover the eyes. Make sure that breathing is easy and normal. There should be no struggle to breathe here. And then now you can let the front of the body melt into the bolster as the back body begins to spread and open. We started our sequence by opening the front of the body, and then we open the right and the left waist and ribs. Now finally we have the chance to open the back body and explore the back side, or perhaps the shadow self, the unconscious mind. Tuck the chin and release the jaw. Feel the breath moving in and out of the body as you notice the rib cage expanding and releasing. 60% of the lungs are in the back body. So this is a wonderful pose to really explore full and deep inhalation and full and complete exhalation. This pose is a wonderful alternative for those who are unable to practice Shavasana lying on the back due to injury, or if they're unable to rest in such a vulnerable position as a regular Shavasana. This prone version of Shavasana, the head and the heart are on the same level. So this is a wonderful pose for balancing and rejuvenation. Focus on the breath. Allow the breath to be your anchor and your guide. Inhale the breath. Begin to prepare yourself to transition out of the pose. Slowly remove the cover from the eyes. Place your palms on the floor, and you can turn your neck to the side. And the best way to come out of this pose is to simply roll to your side of choice and take a moment before you press yourself up on an inhalation. And then I'm going to show you our final pose today, basic relaxation pose, Shavasana. Since I've already done the work to roll my thinner roll, I just have to remove that top blanket, place the thin roll at the foot of my mat. The bolster will support my knees, and then I will have another blanket to support the head. I'm simply making a triangle here. I've taken the two corners of my blanket, matched them together, and I'll show you how to easily support the head and neck with this triangular folded blanket. I will also show you a really neat way to support the wrists with your blocks. But since the floor is cold and hard, I want to open out an extra blanket. So I have some padding for my sacrum, shoulders, head and neck. I'll take my head support and then I want to settle my body over the props. First, I'll take that smaller roll to support the Achilles heel. I want to place the backs of my knees on the bolster, and then I'll lay back so the corners of my blanket come to the base of my neck. I'm going to rest my hands on the blocks. This is a really nice and simple way to elevate the wrists so the shoulders can drop down. I have my heavy blanket, so I want to use that again just on the top thighs for some weight and comfort. But the belly area is completely free, so I just want to add that weight to my legs. To make sure my head is really comfortable, I want to roll the blanket in on the sides. Now you can see my chin is tucked and my forehead is higher than the chin. Cover the eyes. Make sure the nostrils are free, and then open your arms out to the side. My block has come 90 degrees to the wrist, and I'm resting my hand in that neutral position on the pinky side of the palm. Open the arms wide enough so the upper arm does not touch the torso. So quickly to review, all of the joints are supported, the major joints. We have the ankles supported by the roll. The knees are propped 2 times higher than the ankles with the bolster. I've added that blanket there to the top thighs to help the sacrum settle into the floor as the tailbone drops down. And I've supported each wrist on the block. The elbows are settled into the floor, as well as the shoulders. Lastly, but most important, is the head. Make sure the head is comfortable. If your head is not comfortable, it will be more difficult to relax. With the eyes covered, it makes it easier to fully draw the attention inward. Notice the sensation of lying on the floor. And the sensation of fully letting go into the props into the space and into time. Release the jaw. You can part the teeth, but keep the lips together. Observe the cheeks hanging from the cheekbones. And release the skin across the bridge of the nose. Allow the eyes to drop deep into the sockets. Rest your head and rest your brain. Shavasana is a pose of balance, and it is a pose of integration. In this pose, we have the opportunity to integrate every pose that came before it, but we are also given the opportunity to integrate what happened earlier in the day, or in the week, or in the lifetime. Letting the body and the mind come back into balance. Trust that the props will hold you. Trust that the earth will hold you. And allow yourself to be exactly as you are in this moment. Shavasana. Slowly inhale your breath. Begin to take deeper inhalation breaths to help draw you out of the pose and back into the room. One at a time, bend your elbows and rest your hands on your torso. Remove the cover from your eyes and let the light filter in. If you've used a heavy blanket, you can place that to the side, and then one at a time, bend your knees and roll to your side of choice. Rest on your side for several breaths before you begin to transition into an upright, seated position. Sit comfortably as we did at the start of class. Noticing the lovely residue from our practice of nothingness. Bring your palms together at the center of your chest. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. And may you live with ease. Namaste.